Well, here we are. Part two of our new series, The Rise and Fall of Monique and Candiace's Friendship. Okay. Um, Want to start us off with a toast, Ellen?
Sure. Cheers to umbrellas and silver spoons.
So
Okay.
spoons that are really rusty and umbrellas that are meant to choke you out.
Yeah.
We're getting there, Kristen.
No, it's so much. Okay. You are now watching Mind You Media.
Mind you!
We can't use that. We don't have the rights. You are now streaming Mind You Media. All right. So if you want more insight into this series, watch our part one. We get into what prompted this. Okay. There's a lot of chatter online still years later about Monique and Candiace's friendship, and who backstabbed whom. All right. So we were like, let's do a close read, a recount, a rewatch, and really trace the movements.
Got to correct the record,
Exactly. Because there's a lot, there's a lot of lies just circulating as truths out there. So, I'd like to also take this opportunity to plug the plot, the sneaky link plot against Chris Bassett on our TikTok. Okay.
Yes. Check it out.
Yes. All right. So, where did we leave off, ladies? Tell me.
Last time we left off, and this is more or less where we'll take off, we're at Nemacolin. The women are at Nemacolin. For context, that what's happening at the start of this season, again, check out part one. But let's get right into Nemacolin. So they are day one into Nemacolin. It's probably a 2 to 3 day trip. And they're at dinner. What has already happened is Monique has been confronted about, more or less, as Robin put it, feeding Candiace and Charisse different pieces of information so that they would go at each other. And that discussion has been laid to rest. There's a kind of uneasy piece about it. It's not resolved, but nobody seems to be actively like Charisse and Candiace are both like, okay. So then Robin takes the opportunity to raise another matter. Monique, I was concerned because I heard you were drunk driving that night after you and Ashley had lunch.
Not that night, that day.
That
That
day.
your crash that you told us about before.
Not
That you
Not just that you had 4 drinks. I mean, that you were drunk driving. That you had 4 drinks. Ashley told me you had 4 drinks. So that's what Robin puts on the table.
Right. Monique's response from here to the rest of the season is completely outsized. Hyper defensive, okay? She goes into go on.
Let's note that I wouldn't call her defensive, because what Robin is doing, recall that Robin and Monique are on very bad terms. They had, like the kind of, this is the culmination will be the umbrella, the infamous umbrella, which we'll see in a second, but they've had conflict. So what Monique is reading in Robin's comment is like, not concern, not worry, but shade. She's trying to throw her under the bus. So I actually get Monique being defensive in this case, because it's like, okay, I just got called a flip-flopper by Giselle, and now you're trying to call me a drunk. Like, enough. But what you're raising, Katherine, is that, like, if Monique didn't feel guilty of that, she would be like, you tried it, ho.
Exactly.
Yeah, she said, mind your fucking business, okay? But instead, she denies the amount that she drank. She then points the finger at Ashley. Wait, you've been talking behind my back? Ashley, go on.
No, it seems like Ashley, because Ashley had just noted Monique is currently throwing Candiace under the bus for the way she's dealing with conflict among the women, although Monique is the one who advised her to deal with conflict precisely in this way. So it seems Ashley is lit to be like, you know what, Monique, you are not going to skate by off of these things that you've been, your double talk, okay? Like, you were drinking at that lunch. And if you crash, it seems to me the two are not unrelated matters.
And it's not an unrelated matter that we're bringing it up at the table now because we departed for Nemacolin from your very driveway where the crashed car was on full display.
Right,
And you
the
told us
evidence of.
Yes.
So it's like the way the producers cut this, we don't really get to like the conclusion of this, but it's like you can see another uneasy peace agreement is reached. The women leave the table, and let's just suffice it to say, Monique is like redirects her energy. Robin is the one trying to create the thing. Monique redirects her energy to Ashley. What? You were talking about me?
No.
And Ashley's just like, I was just giving expression to what happened, and you did do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they retreat to the hot tub where it seems like everybody's having a good time. Sharice's putting on a shower cap. They're like, shower caps by Sharice. Like, Monique is teaching everyone to smoke cigars. Candiace is looking fine in a bikini. And then presumably, Monique throws up. The production only shows as a flashback, like, the empty place where Monique once was, and then the shrubs behind it. But Monique is presumably throwing up in the bushes.
And she calls it early.
Oh God.
You earled in the bushes.
Very little New York terminology.
Earled.
Right. Okay. So I think it's very important to note in terms of Ashley holding Monique to account, Monique redirecting her energies from Robin to Ashley, that at the beginning of this season, Ashley, Monique, and Candiace were presenting themselves as the new, PYTs, okay? So now there is a clear divergence, okay? That little clique has fallen apart and people are going into their corners and
and we see that later on in the season. Keep in mind what has been happening is Karen is in the she's trying to establish what will become the House of Huger. She's trying to establish the Ladam fragrance line. Of course, Kristen is going to get her prop.
You see my influencer in? All right.
Yes, that worked.
So she hosts a dinner, which is like functions as the discovery for the fragrance. She's going to test out some scent samples on the women at this dinner. We see Monique sitting there with Sharice, and in conversation with Sharice, she insists, I'm not fucking with none of these women. And she says like none of these women, but we'll see her later greet Candiace. So it's clear what she means is the GEBs and Ashley. And what has happened just before this discovery dinner is she's debriefing on that Nemacolin trip with her husband, Chris. And she there is reiterating, these women are not my friends. But the focus of the conversation from both angles seems to be Monique going, you might think Ashley is cooler than what she really is. It seems to me she wants to be just like Giselle and Robin, right? So the energy once again is directed against Ashley, and the GEBs kind of fall to the background. But you can see, I was just going to say, you can see her get kind of like worked up over the accusation of alcoholism in a way that was like, you were fine before.
Yep.
I'll just add to when she's discussing it with Chris, it's important to note her phrasing is that, and it's just like, why would you wait to bring it up in front of Giselle and Robin? Which is like, why again are Giselle and Robin positioned as the audience that you care about, the person, the people whose regard is important to you? Why would you bring it up in front of Robin and Giselle?
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah, that's right. The transgression is you are compromising my image, in front of those women or for those women. Okay, so back to the fragrance dinner. Candiace and Ashley are sitting together across from Monique and Sharice. Candiace and Ashley at some point go to the restroom. While they're there, Giselle, who has come in without much fanfare, sees Monique and goes, "You okay, girl?" Monique says, "Yeah, I'm fine. You sure? I have an issue with Ashley, but I'm going to put her aside and raise it separately with her."
With you. I'm not mad at you guys. It's Ashley. I have an issue specifically with Ashley.
Recall she just said earlier to Sharice, I'm not fucking with none of these women. So now I don't have an issue with you, Giselle. I have an issue with Ashley. And what Giselle aptly notes is like, didn't you just tell Candiace that she needs to bring her issues to the fore When she has them, you're saying you are mad at Ashley about something that happened at Nemacolin and you didn't raise it then. Oh, I'm gonna bring it up to the table and you're gonna confront it there. And that's what happens. So when Ashley returns from the bathroom, Giselle goes, Ashley, Monique says she don't fuck with you. And the fight gets rehashed, but on 1,000, right? Like, and you know, the clip will show, but like my position is that Ashley is like, but Monique, I didn't even bring up the drinking or the crash. You told everyone en route to Nemacolin. And Monique is like, Monique's face is doing that, right? Beautiful Monique. That's what's so remarkable about it to me. Monique is beautiful. And her face is just like, I'm like,
and I know one of the lines of argument Monique says is like, you say you concerned. If you were concerned, you wouldn't do that. Y'all ain't no friends of mine. And she says, concern is the word of the year. Recall that at the dinner on the last night of Nemacolin, Robin phrases her question to Monique, like, Monique, are you okay? Because Ashley told me you have 4 drinks, as a kind of concern. Again, Giselle is posing this question. You okay with Monique? I think she has accumulated this like sense of people's false interest in her as a way of like actually exposing her. And so she is taking it all out on Ashley.
Yes. So they're arguing back and forth. And Katherine, you know, recently having seen the clip again, I wonder if you would say this, but your position initially was that Ashley's being defensive. And I don't think Ashley's being that defensive. I think Ashley looks rather calm. And she's like, no, you brought it up. And then Monique's like, if I was really going to drunk drive, you think I would tell you? I would hide it. Like,
well, yeah, I don't think that Ashley was defensive. No, I think she was defending. Ashley was 10 toes down because she knew she was fucking right. I think that she was defending her point. She was not going to walk it back as much as Monique wanted her to. She was like, no, I'm going to. I know that this happened. I know that you drank because I drank. And she says in the confessional, we befriended the bartender. He gave us more drinks, you know?
And it seems to me Ashley's coming from a position of like, there, like, again, there's a kind of like compassion or mutual recognition. We could even call it projection, but Ashley doesn't seem to be the reason why it can't be projection, Ashley does not disavow her relationship to alcohol, right? Like Ashley will throw it back, and then Monique goes, you had drinks, yes, but I did not get into a car crash. Now did I? Like, that's the difference, is that like I drank a lot and I'm owning that I drank a lot. You drank a lot and you crashed your car. So it seems to me there's probably a relationship.
But more than that, I think that Ashley's saying you drank a lot and you're lying about it now. I'm not even like, she didn't raise it to say like Monique crashed her car. This is irresponsible. This is horrible. She was just giving more info into the situation, you know?
Yeah.
And it sounds like Monique definitely did not have just 2 drinks then, which is another thing that Ashley
here's another thing we were discussing. Monique is a 3, a classic 3. Not, I mean, classic, self-pressed 3 is classic. It's not classic, but she is a 3 and it's unambiguous for us. Like, with a 3, this is a typical situation a 3 finds themselves in. They do a lot, the most, in fact, as Monique will later speak to in this next season. So, and Monique is saying all season long, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to. She's probably tired. She was probably legitimately tired. She shopping trip by day, lunch, drinks, drive home right at the, you know, where the sun is in the sky, you know, that hour where everyone is dozing behind the wheel, whether you've drank or not. And then she crashes and she's probably sleeping poorly. Like, this stuff is all consistent with, you know, how Monique conducts herself. I don't doubt that the alcohol came to bear, but she may not have blown over the limit. I don't think Ashley was implying she's an alcoholic, but Monique and Giselle will have been lit to make that insinuation. And Ashley, vying for favor, as is quite consistent with her character, would be like, that's what you want to hear? Yes, you were drinking for sure. I saw it.
She doesn't deny it. That's the thing. Is it gets turned into this alcoholism you know, oh, this implication, this accusation, and it's like, Ashley for once didn't actually do all that.
Yes, right. Okay,
It's
so
just
the
hard
bottom
to
line,
abide that she didn't, given how nasty we know she is.
yes, because this is literally the most innocent she may have ever been
Yes.
in her time on the show. So at this point, at least, right? Like she will later, whatever, she will later inflame the situation, but for now, she's just like, Monique, what is going on here? So
She's
Karen,
blindsided because she didn't expect her to lie.
Yeah.
exactly. So Karen kicks them all out of the event because by now it is a loud yelling thing. Just before she does that, Candiace sees Giselle fanning the flames and goes, "You're pot stirring. You're pot stirring." The only one, it is worth noting, who calls Giselle out for her role in creating this mess here at Karen's event. And then the production doesn't show this faithful to how I believe it happens. But what Candiace is also noting is like, well, she says something about BMI, like she's having a ditzy moment, like, but the BMI, and then Ashley's like, do you mean what is it?
Blood alcohol content.
Blood alcohol content, BAC, right? She's
But
like,
I think in the moment, it's like, then it's like this acronym thing, and the point gets
yes,
totally
exactly. DUI, BAC, and then she combines them, right? But the point she's trying to make is that it's not nothing to imply somebody had 4 drinks. Like that can sound like over drinking. 4 drinks is not nothing at Monique's side. So if you're saying that, that is a real accusation. That's what she's trying to say, I believe. Because why else would she try to hold Giselle accountable for pot stirring and then throw Monique under the bus? That's not what she's doing.
I also think it's important to note that when Robin first brought this up, one of Monique's initial points, and this is how you know that Ashley is telling the truth about how much they drink. Monique's initial claim, well, I can drink 5 martinis before I throw up.
She did say that. That was what I realized.
That was a shock. It was a shock. Like, girl, that's not how you determine your limit. Once I've thrown up, it's been too much.
I thought she was gonna say 5 martinis before I start feeling crazy. She said before.
Yeah, she said, but now I can have 5 before I'm throwing up.
And then
then 2 is dangerously close. That's
exactly. If you had 4, that means you're fucked up, man. Like, what do you mean?
Yes.
If you had 2, that's fucked up. If 5 makes you throw up, 2, you're probably running naked. Like, which is why Monique tends to stick to wine, let's be honest, right? Like the woman is very skinny. She cannot throw back hard alcohol. No. Let's just be clear about that, right? Okay, so then the women flee the scene. Like there's a white woman who's like, Matthew, handle it. Get this under control.
Meanwhile, that woman is like the shadow Andy Cohen. It's like, why would you feature this white woman saying that in this? You know, like, why do you need her to be vocal in this scene?
Yep.
And she gets Matthew. Matt is Karen.
Meanwhile, Matthew goes, get somebody else.
I ain't the one.
So Karen shouts at them until they leave. They're in the street, and this is where we get that infamous Monique raising her umbrella. Now, to be clear about that, Robin got in her face. And given Monique's reputation for threatening to beat somebody, she threatened Candiace twice, made good on it once. Why didn't she touch Robin, everyone?
Well, you know, I'm just playing. She did put the umbrella to the choking position.
No, she put the umbrella up to stop her because Robin is built like a football player. That's first of all. So Robin is taller than Monique in this moment. Like, I don't know if she's taller than her in real life, but in this moment, she's taller than her. And she's kind of squaring up. But the umbrella's at her clavicle. And that's the thing. She's putting her chest in her face. If you ask me, that's just a deterrent. What? You better move before I choke you out with this umbrella. Then do it. At that point, you would have been totally justified. The point is not to insist that they should have fought, but given what we know Monique being capable of doing, and she will later say, I get triggered when people put their hands in my face. What about when they put their bodies in your face?
Yeah.
Well, explain to the viewers how it came to be that out of all people, Robin was putting her body in Monique
Oh,
said.
there is no clear explanation. Monique is once again yelling at Ashley outside of the venue, and she's saying, "You're trying to tear down everything I built." Robin is in the background at that point, like, "Did you hear her? Bah ha ha! Everything she built. What she
She
built?
said everything she built. Shut up. She literally said, "Shut up."
Everything she built." And don't forget, Robin said Ashley doesn't know what it's like to build a man.
Right.
She will say that earlier this very season. So
Mhm.
by the time Robin begins to approach Monique, Robin is starting it 1000%. It's not even about
Robin
her.
is
And she kept eating
approaching.
it. She was like,
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I'm
She
gonna
was
do it.
approaching and
Mhm.
saying, "Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up," repeatedly.
And
And-
we've seen this behavior from Robin before.
And-
One time someone called her a thug and she was like, "I'm not a thug." Like,
But also, she's a
we're doing the
baby
same
and she's
thing.
bad at fighting. Like, you know, she doesn't make sensible points. She doesn't like turn
fighting
up
that
in a
way.
like
I don't know.
like
She might beat a bitch. Them shoulders, Robin.
not like actual
Robin
you
built
know,
like a football player. Okay.
she doesn't fight with her words compellingly. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
go at people. She doesn't read people well. She doesn't have good ways of sizing people up. So she's just like, shut up. You shut up. You shut up. And that's why I feel like that's why Robin is especially punchable. It's like, Monique, if anybody was going to inflame you,
Yeah.
like Robin is a little childish.
Yeah, like the oh, why's that bug in my ear constantly? Yeah. I feel it now, actually. No, it's true, and it bears like further analysis about why Robin fights like that. Like, we really need to think about the childhood wounds that she's playing out in that, because it's ugly. But that's how that situation concludes. Monique says, "Back up before I choke you out with this umbrella," and Robin does not flinch. She continues to advance towards her until somebody separates it. So again, it begs the question: why was Monique not triggered by that?
Or maybe her investment was stronger in the way she's regarded by Giselle and Robin as Giselle's emissary or whatever, and therefore her desire to punch Robin was less strong than her desire to be seen as worthy in Giselle's eyes or something.
Yeah,
So
we should think about it.
Fast forward, that ends, okay, and Giselle and Robin are understandably, at odds. I mean, not that they have the right to be at odds, but they're at odds with Monique, okay? And Monique later in the season is like gifted the trip of the season to go to Paris, okay? She invites all of the ladies, of course. She
Are they going
invites
to Paris or southern France?
Southern France, the south of France. Yes. Okay. They go to France, and
But Candiace dresses like it's Paris.
Close enough. She
I
says.
like big balls.
Okay. Giselle and Robin are like, we're not gonna go. We don't want to go on this trip. We don't like her. She doesn't even like us. Da 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 blah blah blah. Monique is like, listen, I'm a peacemaker. I'm gonna show all the girls, like, I just want us all to get along. Da 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 blah 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 blah. Okay. What ends up happening is that they all end up going. And Monique does try her best to make peace with Giselle and Robin. Meanwhile,
Via which gestures, Katherine?
Do tell.
We're going to get to that, okay? Meanwhile, she's stepping all over on the neck of Candiace, okay?
No, the gesture happens before this, right? Like, because since Monique is the one coordinating the trip, she chooses,
That's true.
the room, that classic point of contention among housewives.
Well, yes, she instead of giving the extra, she has 2 suites, one for herself, one for another person. Instead of giving it to her sister, Charisse, or her new BFF, Candiace, she offers that suite to Giselle and Robin. She's like, you can choose between the 2 of you, and Giselle takes it. Okay.
Meanwhile, it's Charisse's birthday.
Crazy. And she does not like, apparently, Giselle and Robin. Why would she? She offered it to Robin, who she just was in a chokeout match with.
And if we are to believe Monique, she's trying to play peacemaker. Shouldn't you make peace with the person who you were centrally in conflict with? That would be Ashley. That would be Ashley at your insistence that Ashley was the problem in that conflict. Why wouldn't you make your peace offerings to Ashley? So Ashley gets the brunt of the punishment for the crime, and Giselle and Robin get the reward. It doesn't make sense.
No.
Embarrassing.
So one of the nights, actually Giselle starts shitting on Monique, which then turns into advice about, like real advice about Monique's relationship with Chris, which then turns into, let's all share, if you want. Candiace speaks about, well, I actually am also having issues with my fiance. And he's not a football player, so it's not that like power dynamic you're discussing with your Chris. He's not famous like with Juan and this, blah blah blah. But he's still a man, okay? So there is this issue with who has the power, okay? I have become, someone who's on the news, like someone who's been in pageants, and Chris, there's tension there because just the other day I asked him to hold my purse. All of the women go crazy. You did what? He felt like a doorman. He was I would never ask my husband to.
And you're just noting that because you're so disgusted by the collective reaction from the women. You're going to emasculate your man by asking him to hold your purse while you go to the bathroom?
And then wonder why there's a problem? It's like,
They were acting like they would get a divorce.
Tragic losers, pick-me's, all yous. Like, I can't believe the consensus, the collective consensus around the violation that is asking your man to hold your purse.
Well, you use the bathroom.
Multiple stuff for both of us. Do y'all know what a purse is?
His phone was in the purse. Okay.
Exactly. Literally.
Okay, but before even she gets to the point about the purse, she's saying, as Katherine noted, like, no, he's not a like mega church pastor. No, he's not a former player, former athlete. But as somebody who with a pageant title holder, as somebody who's has some level of visibility, that's when the laughter and we'll tell you what happens. We'll tell you how that laughter transpires. Okay. So you see Giselle, like, so the women are smirking, like, here go Candiace talking, like they are, many of them are like, we are lit to be rude while Candiace speaks, and Giselle's face is like, what you gonna say? What you gonna say? Monique is going,
yeah.
And then exactly what it's terrifying. It's a terrifying face. It's a terrifying face. Like these terrifying faces out of this beautiful woman it's just Monique, it's a rich text. It's important to fucking note.
And her mouth is agape first in the direction of Candiace, who is her friend. So it's like, girl, if you, my friend, are clearly sharing vulnerably.
And Candiace can't tell she's doing that because Candiace is looking out this way. Monique is like, ugh. And then Giselle's sitting right there. Monique pivots this ugly face being mocking Candiace to like go, Giselle, do you feel me? Do you feel me? Giselle's looking at Monique and goes, oh my God, why is she making that face? The minute she bursts out laughing, Monique, the rest of the women who previously had smirks on their faces are now like, oh, that's not nice. No. I wouldn't do that. No. Like they stop laughing. It's so not funny to them. Their faces change completely to like,
even Ashley's face is like not laughing, but like that's your friend. Okay. Like what?
Yes. So again, Monique is the one fishing for negative reactions to Candiace speaking. Giselle, does she take the bait? Giselle's just like, why would you say it like that? Monique goes,
Monique was very lit to bond with Giselle in that moment. And I am sure having been Giselle in that situation Giselle was just barely keeping in her laughter. So it only took one person to make a face at Giselle. But then it's Monique making
I would argue she was not barely keeping in her laughter. I would argue she was fine and she was doing her like, what's this girl gonna say? Then when she sees how lit Monique is to look at her with that contorted face, that's what Giselle realized. Oh, Monique is mocking her friend.
Yeah.
Wow. And she's fishing for my approval in the midst of it.
Yeah.
That's what Giselle perceived, accurately perceived, because she was not seconds away from no. She had it under control. Her face was the least expressive out of the women, but Monique is
And this is the tragedy, is that like Giselle is hyper aware of Monique's weakness, which is her approval, Giselle's approval. Giselle is very aware that Monique craves that more than anything, and not only is withholding it from her, but is playing with her about it. I mean, she knew that when she asked her how she was doing at Karen's fragrance dinner.
How could she not be when she offers her the sweet? For a woman who barely came on a trip, she offers her the enemy. Her enemy gets the sweet, but the friend who she has a conflict to repair with, Ashley, does not get the sweet.
The friend
whose birthday it is, her sister.
Yeah.
The friend who is suffering like embarrassment at a public scandal, Karen, doesn't get the sweet. The new friend who she's like, oh, I love her, Candiace, doesn't get. Her enemies get the sweet.
Yeah. Does not make sense.
Doesn't make actual sense. Okay, so at that point, the laughter, later the women will explain at various moments on the trip, well, Candiace, the reason why people have a hard time honoring your storytelling is the reason why we don't respect you, essentially, is what they're trying to say, is because you always appear to be bragging. At some point we get like a confessional scene from Robin, who is like, yeah, I was raised like Candiace was. Like, I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, and most of the people around me also had silver spoons in their mouths, and it wasn't an issue for me. So I cannot relate to Candiace's issue, which that comment seems apropos of nothing, because you're kind of like, an issue? No, I don't think that's what she's saying. But, and this is a question we'll turn to in season 4 when we really get a kind of robust sense of Candiace's background. I think what Robin is picking up on is that there's a little bit of anxiety on Candiace's part about saying where she's from, about insisting, I do belong here. I do belong here. And that seems to me to like come from something deep-seated, right? And like having, seen season 4, getting to know Candiace's childhood, it seems to me like it is a childhood wound resurfacing.
It feels important to return briefly though to the laughing stock. That moment in France in the hotel ends with Giselle saying, well, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna go to my room and just stare at the ceiling in the nastiest, like most disrespectful fashion, and just ending Candiace's like vulnerable share. I mean, it's perfectly possible that production cut stuff to just make it look even more like abrupt and egregious. But then we see the women go to dinner the next night. And
don't forget, after Giselle says, I'm gonna go to my room and stare at the ceiling, Monique says, I'm going to bed. Yeah, me too. I'm going to bed. Chases after her.
Her friend, literally. So the next night they are at dinner, and apparently Candiace raises it, puts it on the table again, and directs to Giselle that she didn't appreciate her laughing in her face.
She says Giselle and Monique. She says, and Monique, you too were laughing.
And what happens? What does Monique do?
As she's bringing it up, Giselle's face is very serious. Okay, she said, yes, we were having an advice moment. Yeah, tell me more. And Candiace is like, and you laughed. And Giselle's like, I did laugh. That's, yeah. And then Monique, you laughed. And Monique's like, bust out laughing again. No one is laughing. And once again, people at the table are like, ooh, that girl is lit to humiliate her friend.
But then Giselle is like, okay, well, she's pulling a Caroline Stanberry. We're going to table this. And then they all leave. Okay. So it's like, I get to decide, who speaks when, what conflicts we're taking up. All right. They all end up going.
Giselle as the Caroline Stanberry of Potomac. Make sure to check out Real Housewives of Dubai if y'all are not already watching. It is a rich
Mhm.
text, as
We
we like
need to
say.
file that analysis away for next time.
Yeah, yeah.
They
But
go. They all go
But
together.
Candiace and Monique get their moment to have a quick private convo while the women are all going to wait to the car to go back to the hotel, it seems. And that's when Monique takes accountability. You know what? I did laugh in your face, and that was disrespectful. I'm sorry. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I love you. While narrow witnesses around, now Monique can say, I'm sorry. And this to me,
And
like,
then
talk about manipulation. Remember, we invoked triangulation in part 1. Talk about manipulation, okay? Because in the presence of these women who are consistently hazing you, I will join in and bully you. And then when they're not around, I'll go, but make sure you stay close to me because I'm actually your only friend.
And actually, I'm going to lay on my apology thick because Monique kind of gives her a litany, like apology bombs her, like, I'm so sorry. It was disrespectful. You know I love you. I'm so sorry. And then they exit the restaurant and she's like, come on, give me a spin, a twirl. Come on, best friend. Like, it's like,
She's love bombing her.
yeah, she's like putting her in a daze so she can't even account for, doesn't give Candiace the opportunity to even respond. Like, okay, we're back to being friends, right, girl? Okay, spinning around. Tell me one more time.
Yes.
Gotta hop in the cab now. Bye.
Suddenly, yeah, and Robin is like, "Oh, look, they're holding hands now." Ha ha ha.
Yep. Okay, so then the other major moment here, which does not involve Candiace, but is essential for building the story or an understanding around Monique's investments and dynamics, is what is this? The last day of the trip, Monique invites Giselle to join her for breakfast on the joint balcony of their double presidential suite or whatever. And she basically has to drag Giselle there kicking and screaming. I like my mornings to myself. What's happening? I have to dine with you? Yes, please come on. It'll be fun. I don't know about all this. I'm not interested. Come on. It'll be great and tasty. It's nice outside. Like,
Beautiful view.
I mean, Giselle is literally putting up every resistance, and Monique is just, no, come on, girl. Her nervous laughter at nothing that's funny,
So then what do they discuss?
They go outside and, they're sitting, eating. Monique is trying to, once again, as she would say, play peacemaker, okay? And really smooth things over with Giselle, really ingratiate herself to Giselle. And Giselle's not having it, okay? Monique is trying to say, hey, earlier in this season, okay, what we have not discussed on part 1 or part 2 of this breakdown is that Monique keeps bringing Kendall, Sherman's ex-wife, around at events. So that's one of the main reasons that Giselle has a problem with Monique. It's like, are you kidding? You tried to make a fool. You tried to humiliate me. Okay. And so Monique is trying to pave over that. Well, really, that was Charisse. Okay.
But what does she say? What is the comment she makes to kick off this, her explanation to Giselle about why she keeps bringing Kendall around? I think, Kristen, you were noting it.
She basically was like, well, listen, I mean, Charisse is my girl, so I'm not trying to throw her under the bus, which is like the opening salvo, which is, of course, throwing Charisse under the bus because that's the prefatory remark for explaining why she brought Kendall around.
Yes.
A poorly acted job. It's like, Monique, you're fucking disgusting. Like, no respect. I have no respect. If you brought me here, woke me up early ass in the morning, told me it's going to be worth my while, and you're starting at, well, Charisse is my girl. I don't want to throw her under the bus, but I should better. It's like, not worth my time.
Which Giselle pretty much says that. She says, she's like, like Charisse has plenty of friends. She wouldn't have brought this woman around in all of these times. Like, you did it multiple times. Like, Charisse might have done it once or put her in the thought about it, but
she's actually her friend. That's the thing. You're not friends with Kendall. This looks like an opportunity to you, doesn't it?
And the only reason you're accounting for it, she says, is because it makes you look bad.
So Monique's defenses are bad and weak because she's more or less also trying to admit, yeah, that's true. Like I shouldn't have done that, and I'm not gonna do it again. And no, I did want it to be a plot against you, but I'm Charisse did it first. Like, and
Yep.
so and so Giselle is just like, I have you right where I want you. Now let me threaten you.
Yeah.
Now what is that? What is that? Finely worded threat, Giselle.
What I love about the threat, first she says, your problem, because, Monique is sitting there saying, blaming everyone else, da 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 da, and Giselle's like, cut the fucking bullshit. She says,
Mhm.
no, your problem is that you missed. You took a shot and you missed. If I was going to take a shot, I would be waiting in the cut like a ninja waiting to blow your fucking face off.
Like a ninja waiting in the bushes to blow your face off.
What kind of a bazooka? Does the ninja have a bazooka? Is the ninja a rapist?
Weapons,
Like,
girl.
metaphors, what?
But the point is taken that
no one
Monique
ever accused Giselle of being smart. Okay.
No. But Monique did try and take a shot and she really missed. She really missed. That's kind of the story.
The thing that's sad is she tried to take a shot and she missed. And then she tried to take accountability and move past it and also missed because she didn't even try to take accountability.
Yeah.
She just tried to smooth over it.
And did she try to take a shot or did she start handing out guns and go, please use this on Giselle? And everyone
yes.
said, oh,
Yes.
okay.
She tried to orchestrate a shooting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the reason, don't forget the reason they're on the balcony, that's Monique's dominant approach with respect to Giselle. Be my friend, please. Let me ingratiate myself, please. Look, are you not impressed by the things I've done? Please
I know
like
you
me.
like sweets. I got you chocolate and cupcakes and pancakes. I know that about you. Like,
and y'all, it's reading as desperate and pathetic. Like at the end of the day, it's reading as desperate and pathetic. It wasn't even this bad last season. This season, it's like, girl, have some self-respect. Like, I mean, maybe Giselle holds the strings to who can be on the show, and that's how I don't know. But there's not a reason that feels good in my heart about why Monique is continually ingratiating herself to this woman who has nothing but insults and ire for her.
And all season, I literally cannot find. I mean, of course, I didn't rewatch as deeply as you, Katherine, but I did not find Monique make one public condemnation of Giselle, one public derision of her, one public criticism, accusation. Everything is either a shielded remark that implicates somebody else or just an outright. At cryotherapy, they are making fun of her clothes, and Monique, she better be glad she's so pretty because she can't. It's like there can never be outright aggression towards Giselle.
And the way everyone responded to that, they were like, wait, like the way it landed on their ears is like, are you just lit to call Giselle pretty? Like that's how everyone felt about it. Like, what are you talking about?
We're talking about her hideous.
Yes, we're clowning her.
And you're gonna bring out
and you're here with compliments for her.
And recall, she says it again at a reunion. That's Monique who says that again.
Yeah, it's giving I'm in love with you and want to swallow you whole. Okay. Anyway, this is the last major conflict of the season, but then the season concludes in the context of Monique and Candiace's friendship. Remember, this is a look at that friendship with Candiace's engagement party. What we see of that party is Monique comes in, baby, you look, oh my God, serving to the gods. And then in the confessional, her general, her feelings about Candiace up to that point are, I love Candiace. She has my back and she has proven to be a real friend. She has my back and she has proven to be a real friend.
Against all of my continual undermining of her, every time.
Every time I flip-flopped, I've triangulated, but you know what? When people were implying that I clearly have an issue with alcohol, who was defending me? Who was defending me in group settings? Who was defending me one-on-one with people? It was always Candiace.
Exactly. So she recognizes. We'll see what happens season 4.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
All right. Well,
Next
like,
time.
comment, subscribe, and
Let
see
us
you.
know if the tide of your opinion of Monique is changing in light of these analyses. Like, what's the updated take? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's any noteworthy moments that we missed, let us
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.